Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. Thanks Dave. Thanks Joe. Joe's been a friend of Sealed for a while. Also to clarify, I consider myself more of a Chicagoan originally than a New Yorker, but I'll play the part today. Thank you. I'm the founder and CEO of Sealed. We're a financial technology company that basically finances home upgrades with energy savings. At a high level, we are attacking the probably well over $10 billion per year of energy that is wasted in U.S. homes. Our average customer wastes about $800 a year on their energy bills, and more importantly, I think it's a theme you're probably hearing a lot today, what they really care about is they're living in drafty, uncomfortable, sometimes unsafe homes. So our customer, what they really care about is, I think a customer said this to me once, I just want to be warm. That's kind of like the key pain point. So what I'll go through kind of how we give it the offer, but that's the key thing we're focusing on. So what we give is to the customer is a better, more comfortable home at no added cost to their energy budget. So basically, we, working with debt partners, pay for the upfront cost of home efficiency upgrades. These are pretty kind of boring things like insulation and HVAC upgrades, and slightly sexier things like smart thermostats and smart lighting. The way that our Home Advance program, our financing program works is we put up the capital to install these projects. We work with local contractors, and then we have a contract with the customer, which basically sets that they pay us back based on how much energy they save. So if they don't save anything, we don't make any money. If they overperform, we make additional money. And so the pitch to the customer is really nice. It's basically kind of selling them a no cost home improvement. They're not going to pay anything more than what they are today, and they get a better home. We find this is really important because one of the big challenges in the energy efficiency space, particularly the residential space, is the fact that people just don't care and also don't really understand energy or energy efficiency. Unlike in the commercial space where you have more sophisticated buyers that can do ROI and payback calculations and can kind of do more sophisticated engineering analysis, a homeowner just wants to get by. They want to take their kids to school, to sports games and things like that. They don't really want to worry about this stuff. So we basically take that hassle away, give them a better home at no added cost. As you can imagine, however, we're literally putting our money where our mouth is in terms of what this energy is going to save. So our core technology, our core IP, is around actually predictions for how much energy is going to be saved. So we have built up a data set of really high quality energy data sets related to past energy usage data, home characteristics, and project characteristics. We basically mash that all together, run some machine learning, predictive analytics on top of it, and we basically come up with the right coefficients for each customer in terms of how they use energy, and then we compare their actual energy use to what we would have predicted. So our business model is basically a long-term recurring cash flow model. So for an average deal, we're creating about $20,000 of cash over 20 years. So the way that the corporate entity makes money off of that, as you can imagine, is number one, debt backed by the cash flow. So that's how we pay for the projects up front, as well as keep a upfront profit for ourselves. We get recurring revenue or retained value from the ongoing cash flow, after we pay off the debt. And then we also make lead generation fees. So we're sending a lot of leads to our local contractor partners, which I'll get into in a second, where we're also bringing in money up front. Kind of overall, what the economics look like is we're netting about over between $4,000 and $5,000 per deal with a less than $2,000 cost of acquisition. So how do we go to market? So we have two primary channels to reach customers, digital marketing, Google Ads, Facebook, et cetera, and then utility marketing partnerships. So we're currently working in New York, and we're just operating in New York, which I'll get to in a second, with Con Edison, National Grid, Orange and Rockland, and Central Hudson, in addition to some kind of non-regulated energy and utility partners. So basically, we have partnerships with them where we basically piggyback off of marketing that they're doing through, O-Power reports and similar types of marketing. We pay the utility based on the marketing that comes in, and then we market to those customers our services to how to help them. We take those leads, we send it to a contractor network that we develop and manage. So these are local, insulation, HVAC contractors, and they basically do the in-home inspection and sign the scope of work with the customer. So we've been growing fast. We launched the Home Advance program, our financing program, Q2 last year. In this September, we did more origination than we did all of last year, as we've kind of developed the product further, made things a lot easier. The biggest challenge for us, probably anticipating some questions, is that this is a new concept, and therefore it's something that you have to make really simple for people and have as little friction as possible in terms of sign up. So we've learned a ton over how to basically fit into the psychology to make the process easier, and that's been reflected in our growth. So all of our growth has actually occurred with our sales and marketing costs staying steady or actually going down over the time. So all that has basically been organic or through channel. So the team, myself, previously to starting Sealed, I co-founded another residential energy efficiency company called Efficiency 2.0. We sold white label software to utilities to help them engage their customers. So we sold that company in 2012. Shortly after that, started Sealed. And my co-founder, Lauren, who was recently named 30 Under 30 by Forbes Energy, is a rock star. She, investment analyst at McKinsey, helps on basically keep the train running. And then we've got a great rest of the team on the partnership side, on the operations and marketing, and on the sales and technical services. So we're raising right now a $5 million Series A. So right now we're only operating in New York because our current debt funding comes from the New York Green Bank. We've got term sheets to get debt financing outside of New York, but we need to pair that with equity capital as well to be able to build our infrastructure, sales and marketing, and generally grow as quickly as possible. I'll leave it at that for now.
So, Andy, thank you. I'm tempted to ask you what predictive analytics means, and I'm also tempted to ask you how you're going to put a facility up front to capitalize this, but I'm really most interested in how are you going to sell this to mass markets? Are you going to do this one at a time? How are you going to get some scale out of that?
Yeah, sure. Great question. So our kind of key to scale are, as I mentioned, the digital marketing and the utility marketing. So we're hitting kind of wide groups of people, particularly with the on the utility side of things. And then the other big piece of that is both leveraging those relationships as well as building a network of contractors. So if you look at companies in kind of the energy efficiency or solar financing space, the ones that have been most successful, whether it's PACE providers or solar loan or solar lease providers, are ones that have been able to create really simple and compelling products that can be used by kind of any Joe plumber, not to be pejorative, that's out there. And so we think we're basically there for the most part in terms of having a product that is really catchy, easy for people to understand, and then kind of guiding people through there. So that's kind of the short answer to that.
Sorry, basic lawyer's question. How do you secure the cash flows? What happens if they don't pay? What happens if they move?
Basic non-lawyer answer. So we file a UCC1. So it's not a loan. We don't have a lien on the house. We can't take their house if they don't pay us. But we file a UCC1, which gives us a property interest in the home. So if they don't pay us, then we could take them to small claims court. But also, it'd be very hard for them to refinance their mortgage or to get a new mortgage.
A follow-on question is, does the consumer view you as a lender from their perspective in the way you market?
Great question. So one of the appeals of our product is that we found that debt is a four-letter word for a lot of consumers. So they view us as a finance partner and kind of as a program, but they don't view this as a traditional loan, which it's not. And that's an important distinction from a kind of consumer sales psychology.
Have you run into any regulatory issues financing in the consumer space?
We have not. So we've got good counsel actually based here in DC that we've run kind of all of our contracts and all of our marketing materials through. We've also run our contracts through utilities, New York regulators, kind of anybody who would have an interest in that. So we feel pretty confident there.
Last question. How long does it take to come up with your study or your predictive modeling for each homeowner?
So for each home, it's very quick. I mean, we have an app on that we load onto people's phones that calculates it. The way it works is there's a lot of basically deep math that goes into fairly simple equations that can then be coded into simple software or Excel formulas. Not to get into too many nitty-gritty on predictive analytics, but basically we're looking at test and training sets. So we basically take a set of data, we come up with what we think is the best fit for predicting future energy usage. And then we test that, prediction against a set of data that wasn't used to create that, and we see how close it matches, basically. And then we know that kind of algorithm or that equation is the right one for that group. One more quick one.
Just very quickly, as you think about expanding outside of New York City where you don't have the connection with Con Edison, how do you go about finding new customers that may be the perfect candidate for someone like Sealed, but you don't have the customer data and you don't have the support of the local utility?
Yeah. So the customer data side, so we actually have gathered a lot of data outside of New York as well in kind of anticipation. In terms of getting to the customer, we've learned a lot from the utility side of things to be able to scale up quickly on the digital side. So our kind of cost of acquisition is similar on the digital side as it is on the utility side. The challenge on the digital side has been it's hard to do digital in a small space. So as we have the ability to expand beyond New York, that's actually going to be a more efficient and effective. And obviously, we'd love to partner with additional utilities as we move outside of New York. But it's going to be kind of a different game at that point.
Thank you, Randy. Well done.